So her daughter takes the register, wham, right on my head, right on my head. I said, I still had her. I was still holding her. And I held her there until the police came.
Isn't it kind of crazy how God puts two of us to do this interview and we both end up coming from Chicago and then trying to continue our dreams in Omaha?
Exactly.
It's just crazy how stuff like that works in this life.
Indeed, it is.
So, everyone, welcome to another episode of the 402 on Out podcast. I'm your host, Connor Wiesman, and with me today, I have Chef Dice Moore with me, owner of Gobble Ganger Foods here in the Omaha Tower. And what I just learned when I walked in is what you told me. You are the longest reigning restaurant here in the building.
That's what they told me when I bought it, yeah.
Yeah, so for those with who needs context, Gobble Ganger Foods, as I just said, is located in the Omaha Tower on the first floor. And Chef Dice just told me how she's been here for 18 months, which is the longest reigning restaurant that has been here. And the one before that was 6 months.
That's what they told me, yeah.
So with that being said, you're already breaking records here at this building and hopefully expanding Gobble Ganger Foods more in Nebraska, maybe throughout the country. But we'll get to that later.
Yes.
So first off, before I want to talk about your passion with food and how Gobble Ganger Foods started here, I want to give a shout out to Scotty Davis for shouting you out for making all this happen on my podcast when I interviewed him, and then you reaching out. It's just one step at a time. So
Yeah.
it's just crazy how stuff like that works again. So
Yeah.
I'm grateful to be here, and I'm grateful to learn more about you. So let's start off with your past, growing, because you were born and raised in Chicago.
Mhm.
So let's talk about that. What was your childhood like growing up then?
I had like, let's see, I had like a split experience as a kid. So like, I grew up with my grandmother and her sister, which is my great aunt. They took me to church and stuff like that. But then also, I had a little experience of being in the foster care system. So that was interesting.
How were you in the foster care system, like around elementary school, middle school, high school?
I got into the foster care system when I was, I believe, 10. And I stayed until I was like 15. Yeah, until I was 15.
So is it okay if I ask where your parents were throughout this time?
Dad, I don't know where he was at. Like, I haven't seen him since I was like 5. My mom, okay, so this is the story. I usually don't talk about it, but I'm gonna tell you. So my mom had an ex-husband, and she met him when I was like 6, I believe. And she took us to go meet him one day, and she usually, like, when she had boyfriends and stuff back when I was younger, she'd like, "Oh, how do you like him?" If I usually say I do like him, but if I did say I didn't like him, they would like disappear. So this in particular instance, I was like, ugh, I don't like him. He's weird. He gives off creep. And she was like, really? She stopped the car and was like, really? I was like, yes, don't like him. Don't bring me over here anymore. And then just so happened, that's the one she stayed with the longest. So what happened is, when I was like from 6 all the way to like 9ish, I believe, if I can remember right. Yeah, like to like 9ish, he was like essaying me. Yeah. So so we had a bat with that. My grandmother, I used to live with my grandma and my aunt. I had lived with them, and my mom had lived with them. We lived with them like all my life. And then all of a sudden, we just moved away and we moved into his house. And then all of that stuff was going on. And then, like my grandmother and my auntie, they would come over, try to get us back because like they just felt like something was wrong. And then they would call the police on them. And like it got to the point where they told my grandma and my aunt if they came back over, they would go to jail type stuff. And this is the 90s, you know? So Chicago's child endangerment services was not the best back then. So yeah, he was doing all type of things. Like he did that, did, like, he would used to, like, beat on just me. Because it was other kids. It's just me, though. Well, at the time, it was, like, 4 of us. But, yeah, just me. I was the oldest, and he would just do all those type of things. Like, I can remember he put me in the basement one time, and he, like, attached me to, like, this, you know how, like, you see this pole here?
Yeah.
You know how, like, they have those pole, like, pipes in the basement? I guess they're plumbing pipes, I'm
Yeah.
assuming.
I know what you're
So
talking
plumbing
about.
pipes, like, he put me up and hooked me up to that thing one day because I didn't want to do something, and, like, beat the mess out of me until, like, I fell asleep. So that was one instance. And then he had another time where he beat the mess out of me with, like, think of, you remember, like, the old building blocks, like the life size building blocks,
I know what you're
like,
talking about.
for little
Were
boys.
they like colorful?
Some were colorful and some were, like, plain white.
Okay, got it.
Looking,
Yeah.
wood looking. So it was like the plain wood looking one, like the longer one. Like, yeah, he beat the mess out of me with that. Like, my lips was busted, hands was busted, everything was busted. And then my mom, like, and I let him do that to that severity that time because usually he would do all this stuff and my mom be gone at work and whatnot, and she'd come back and I would tell her, but it was like no signs and no evidence of the stuff. So I, like, let him beat the mess out of me because I was fighting him back. So I let him beat the mess out of me so that she could see, like, mom, like, I'm like, mom, look. But to my surprise, she was like, you gotta learn how to listen. Who you talking to? You talking to me? This is not my mom. I can't deal with this. So yeah, so that was that. And that went on for some time, but when she was gone, he would do the essaying and he just was a weird creep. Really weird. So what happened is I got into the foster care system is because I ran away when I was like 10. I ran away for 2 weeks. I was gone. In my mind, I was gone. But they caught me slipping. I didn't know they had a missing person report out on me. I didn't know they had all that stuff going on. I didn't know the police was looking for me. But the crazy part about it, I was directly next door to the house. And the friends that I had, they would hide me underneath their clothes inside their closet so their mom didn't know. And I would just come out when their mom was gone or whatever. And so when the police asked, like, oh, have you seen her? She's like, no, but the mom was telling the truth because she did it. And she never knew. She still haven't found out, never to this day. Like, she probably found out now, but she still never found out to this day. And what happened is I was like, man, I'm bored. So I was like, okay, I've been gone for 2 weeks. It should be in the clear. I went outside to go play, being a kid. And then the police said, whoop, whoop. I looked. I jetted. I ran. I hopped the gate. And I was so short back then. I hopped the gate and then my t-shirt got hooked on the gate. So I was just hanging there. And I was like, well, I guess I'm caught.
Sounds like a movie scene.
Yeah, so I was like, I guess I'm caught. So they took me down and they was like, hey, what is your name? I was like, I don't know. They was like, yes, you do. It was like, what are your name? What's your name? I told them what my name was. They was like, don't you know your parents are looking for you? I was like, I don't have any parents. What are you talking about? And then at the same time, my mom's friends were out driving around and they saw me too. And they, like, when they saw the police talking to me, they saw me, they came over there and they was like, we all have been looking for you. Like, oh my gosh, da da da, yada yada yada. And then she was like, why would you run away? And then I was like, don't take me back home. And then she was like, why? I was like, because he used to make us call him Buddy. I'm like, because Buddy keeps touching me and I don't like it. And they like, touch you how? And honestly, I didn't tell on him because I wanted him to go to jail and stuff like that. I told him because I just didn't want to go back home with them. I'm like, Mom, if you want to stay there, you can. I don't want to stay there. So I'm thinking now, I'm going to tell on them, cool. They just going to make me stay with my grandma and my auntie and I'll be straight. That did not happen. That did not happen. So I ended up going to the hospital. They had to do this RAP kit on me and rap E kit on me, and that was traumatizing. So everybody's just like, I'm just face down. They're doing the kid and stuff. I'm thinking, I'm like, okay, can y'all hurry up? They just got my butt in the air. I'm like, everybody's talking over my butt. Like, can we like hurry this up? Like, what's happening? So, my mom's friend came in. She crying. My grandma, my auntie crying. I'm like, what is wrong with everybody? I'm like, what is wrong with everybody? Why is everybody crying? Like, is y'all cool? I was like, what is wrong with y'all? And then, well, I didn't know what was going on back then. I was real smart, but about that part, I'm like, what everybody crying for? I'm the one with my butt in the air. Like, can y'all chill? So, um, I don't know what happened after that, but I know we started going to court and stuff. And then my mom, I think DCF, DCFS, asked my mom, like, if I can go with my grandma and my auntie, and she was like, no, da 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 da, yada yada yada. Because I guess my mom had it in her head that I was doing it just so I can go back to live with them. But no, I'm like, I was looking at my mom like she was crazy because I'm like, bro, you act like I'm sitting here making stuff up. Like, used to come back home, like my sister hair caught on fire one time because we didn't have heat and stuff, and we was trying to like heat ourselves up like on the stove and stuff. And my sister, she was short, her ponytail got too close to the fire, hair caught on fire. My sister, he used to drive around in this pedo van. That's what I call them. That's why I hate white vans. I call them pedo vans because he used to drive around in that, and he had no seats and stuff. It's like basically set up for like kidnapping kids and stuff. And we was in it, and I guess the door swung open or something because my sister was trying to like escape or something, and she fell out of it. Just fell out the bus, face all just messed up. That was crazy. So we had so many instances of things that like mom like, okay, all of that stuff happened, and we had physical like evidence of that stuff. So why don't you believe this is happening? I didn't want to talk to her. So she ended up like, no, she's not going to go live with my grandma, which is her mom. She's like, no, y'all could put her in foster care. I was like, really? So I ended up, it was called temporary foster care, really, because I ended up going with, I guess it's called temporary foster care when you go with people that the parents know, I guess. So I went with her friend, and she was cool with my auntie, and they like my grandma, and my auntie kind of like kidnapped me back out of foster care, and I would go over there with them, and then like when the visits needed to happen, they would just come and get me and take me over there and act like I was there, type of thing. And then I would go back with my auntie, my grandma. So that's why I said I had like yes and no at the foster care, but I ended up leaving there because they got mad because I told on their dad for trying to touch on me. Like, I don't know, I kept running into dudes that kept touching on me when I was a kid. It was really creepish. But I really only told on my mom's husband only because he kept doing it like repeatedly. Everybody else, they would do it, and then I would never see him again. So I really didn't have nothing to tell for real. But him, he was just on it, on it. I'm like, this dude. So then we ended up going to court. That court lasted all the way from 10 to 15. And then they ended up letting him go for real. They didn't convict him or anything. He didn't get in trouble or nothing. Even though they had all this evidence, they had all these stories, they had this, they had that. They had these DCFS cases. They said they let him go. The judge let him go because I couldn't remember a specific time and date of when it happened. And I'm like, I was 6 and I wasn't going to school. They were homeschooling me, but didn't have the right papers and I wasn't doing anything. So from 6 to like 9-ish, I didn't go to school. Didn't know how to read a little bit. I knew how to read a little bit, but not a lot. I didn't know how to do a lot of stuff because I just wasn't being taught anything. And yeah. So when I did go to school, they had to figure out what grade I was in, all this other stuff. And then they found out I was really, really smart, surprisingly. But I mean, like my mom, I always tell people, like, I had a good mom all the way up until like I was 5. I feel like she was cool. And then, like, she tried to put me in, like, what is it? Private school. I did that for a little minute. That's why was able to be as smart as I was before I moved to the public school system because I was so far ahead because of the public school system. That stopped for whatever reason. I don't know. But yeah, so that's that. And yeah, so after he didn't get convicted, I was like, this is why people don't tell them the real people, the real victims. That's why they don't say anything because nothing ever happens to them. But the people that be like fabricating and nothing really happened, they always get justice. Weird.
Yeah, I can agree with you there. So you said you didn't go to school from ages 6 to 9, and they had to figure out what grade you were in. So how did they figure that out? And were you able to graduate as a
I graduated when I was 15.
when you're from high school?
Mhm.
Because you're. Can you explain a little bit about that?
All right, so okay. So when I finally got to go to school, I remember going to school at like 10. I was like in fourth or fifth grade, I believe. And they gave me like these series of tests trying to figure out what grade I because at first the reason why they had to figure out what grade I was in is because I wouldn't talk. I wasn't talking to nobody. I was like deaf mute. I wasn't saying anything. I didn't want to be there. I didn't know what was going on with people. I didn't know if they were just talking to me just to like, I don't know. Everybody was the enemy at the moment. So I wasn't talking. But I had this teacher. Her name was Willa Geringer. Miss Geringer, she was the best teacher. She was like one of my first favorite ever teachers. And she would talk to me and she would be like, listen, I know you know how to do stuff because we were going over decimal placements or whatever, and she saw me explaining it to some kids that had been struggling, and they once they took a test, they score shot up or something, and she was like, "You have to know how to do this stuff, so why are you not talking? Why are you not this?" So I finally told her, and she was like, "Well, you're safe now. You know, you're with your grandma, you're with your auntie. You know, they're doing what they're doing with you, and this, that, and third." So they ended up giving me like this. I don't know what they call them here, but in Chicago we call them ISAT tests. It's like the little state testing. So when I took the test, I scored like off the charts, off the freaking charts. Like I think I got 100% on every section except for one part of math and history where I missed like 2 questions apiece. Other than that, I had a perfect score. So they found out that my reading level was actually like to 12th grade. They found out that like I was doing math on a college level and so forth and so on. And that's the only reason why is that I was teaching myself when I wasn't going to school, but I didn't know I was teaching myself right. So I thought I didn't know anything. And it turned out to be that I was really, really smart. Like I knew how to do algebra, I knew how to do a lot of things. And I knew how to my aunt and my grandma taught me how to read when I was younger, and I just applied those same like I was reading like 3 and 4 letter words by the age of like 3 and 4. And the things that I can remember them teaching me, like when I wasn't going to school, I would like play school with my little sister, and I would just teach the things to us that how I remember them showing us, I guess. And then we didn't really have we had skipping grades, but when I was in Chicago, they had this thing where I don't know what was it called. I forgot what program it was called, but it was basically like instead of skipping us, because a lot of kids like me being 10, for me to if they was to skip me to where I was supposed to be, I'll be in high school. It's a 10-year-old. That's not a place for a kid.
Yeah.
Those kids are too big and too mature for the little ones. And especially with my history, they're like, "Oh, no, 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 no. We cannot we cannot put her in a situation." It was like, "No, we don't want nothing else to happen." And I was a fighter too. So I went from not talking to fighting, but I was still smart. I was sports and all that good jazz. But I ended up I wanted to graduate super early because I knew that my family didn't really have much money. My grandma and auntie, they did what they could. At the time, I didn't feel like my mama didn't care about me. So I'm like, if I get as much education as I can graduate early, I can go to college at a lower rate, and then I can figure it out from there. So I started taking like classes, night classes, and online classes. Not really online classes. You had to go to the school in order to take the classes or whatever. But that would be the same thing as taking online classes today. I took extra classes so that I could get extra credits, and I started doing that when I was in sixth grade, and I did that from sixth grade all the way to eighth grade. So that's 3 years, and I took summer school on top of that so I can get all this stuff out the way. And by the time I got to high school, I only had like a semester and a half left, and I was 15.
So you didn't really have a high school career. You just went to one semester of high school and then you were done.
Nope, I stayed actually. Even though I was done, I graduated on paper and all that good jazz.
Graduated on paper as a 15-year-old.
Mhm.
Okay, go on.
I stayed, worked in offices just so I could still be a part of the high school thing, but I didn't really do high school for real. I was there for like maybe a year and a half, and then I was graduated. I was cool. I was in the game, but I didn't walk across stage yet. I was waiting for my friends. I should have walked across stage, but I was waiting for my friends to graduate because I was so much far ahead. And I'm like, no, I don't want to graduate these people. I don't know these people. I want to graduate with my friends. So I was waiting. And in the midst of me waiting, my mother decides to, oh, I'm going to go get my kid out of foster care. We're going to take her back. Made me so mad. Made me so mad. I was a basketball player. I had a full ride scholarship to college. The only thing is, I wasn't old enough to go, and I needed somebody to go with me. My grandmother and my auntie, they couldn't go with me. She wasn't gonna go with me because I was underage, and you needed like a back then. I don't know what they do now, but back then you needed like a person to go with you to be your guardian or whatever. So I didn't have anybody, and I wasn't comfortable with like just appointing somebody that I didn't know because bad stuff was happening to me. So I was like, I'm preventing all of that. So my mom came back and got me, and she was like, she moved to the northwest suburbs at this point, like Streamwood or whatever. And she came back and got me, and I'm like, I was so, when I say I flipped shit, I flipped it all the way around. I was like, my grandma and my auntie almost had to jump me because I was like, I don't want to go. Like, she forgot about me. Like, I was wanting her to come back and get me, but once I realized she wasn't coming and I got cool with that, that's when she wanted to come back and get me. I was so mad because she like just, I feel like she just uprooted my life again for no reason. So she was like, no, it's a better school out here. Um, it's a better opportunity. It's a better area. Come out here and then you can graduate from here. I said, I can graduate from there. She was like, yeah. I said, okay. When I get there, total different school district, everything that I worked for, everything that I did, the only credits that they kept were my main core credits, and I still have to go to high school.
So all that work up to being 15 was almost nothing for nothing.
Mhm.
So you had to restart from
Not restart,
but not from scratch,
yeah.
but still had to. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, so I had, because it was the curriculum weight wasn't the same.
Mm-hmm.
So like all of the work that I was doing from elementary to junior high school to high school, all of those schools in the surrounding area, in the surrounding district. So after you went from the elementary school I went to, you went to the junior high school. Then from the junior high school, you went to the high school that was in the area. And so I was good. Got there. They put me back at a sophomore, a second year sophomore. Like, I'm almost finished, about to be a junior.
Got it.
So I had to start that. I was doing it for a little minute. I think I stayed there for like a year. And then I got mad because I was learning stuff that I already knew. I didn't understand why they couldn't keep the credits. I wasn't even in school all day. I'm like, this is dumb. And it was like, well, you have to be in school for a certain amount of hours and this, that, and the third, yada, yada. So I'm like doing half a days. I'm going to work. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. By that time, I was like, you know what? I quit. I quit. I quit. They were like, you're dropping out? Yeah, whatever. How old you got to be to do that? 16. Okay, give me the paper. I'm signing it. I'm out of here. I don't want to be here. I don't like the school. I don't like these people. I don't like this area. I want to go back home. So that happened, and then I started just working in the fast food industry. I ended up, I kept running to areas where I needed like my high school diploma and stuff like that. So I just paid $120 and just got the GED. I took it off the first rip. I was done in an hour. They gave it to me, and I went on about my business. Because in order for me to get my high school diploma, my mom owed some fees or something, and she was like, "I'm not paying that." I'm like, "I'm not paying for it either." I'm like, "I could pay for it, but why? You're the parent. It's not my dad. My dad doesn't start until after I turn 18." So she didn't pay for it. I didn't pay for it either. So I just paid. I'm like, 1,500 or 120. I'll take the 120. So I have a GED by default for no reason.
Well, that's a crazy high school story to share.
Yeah.
Never heard anything like that before.
Long winded, but yeah, I had a crazy, crazy, crazy life.
So you started working in the food industry at 14, correct?
Yes.
So what got you to find your passion and okay, let's try cooking and see if we can do that for a job or even a living down the road?
Um, so the company that I worked for when I was 14, he was trying to do like this incentive program or something like that, and like teach like I guess that's when they started doing like the work permits and stuff. So he was trying to be a part of that program. So he got a couple of us teenagers, and then he was showing us how to do this, how to do that. And out of all of the teenagers, I was the last one standing, and I was with him the longest. I had stayed with him from 14 all the way to 30 years old. Then he passed away. So he taught me everything I know. He showed me all of the behind the scenes stuff. Um, I was like his protege, I guess. Well, he had a son, but his son didn't like that.
Would you consider this guy as your second father or a mentor?
Yeah, mentor. Yeah, mentor. I guess he used to tell people I was his daughter, but I used to be like, whatever.
What was his name again?
Uh,
Not the son, the guy that your mentor.
his
That
name was Mark.
Mark, got it.
His name was Mark. His name was Mark. He was cool. Well, his son was named Mark Jr.
Okay.
So they got the same name. But yeah, he taught me everything I needed to know. And only reason why he took me up under his wing, because I was like so like, I'm trying to get to the money, trying to get to the money. Like I can't, like I started taking out garbage first because that's the only thing we could do at the time. And then I went to cashier. And then by the time I turned 16, that's when I found out that you could be a shift manager. So I became a shift manager immediately. I was like, okay, so what's the next part after shift manager? He's like, training shift manager. I was like, that's in charge of all the shift managers, or that's just in charge of training? He was like, in charge of training. I was like, okay, let me do that. So then I did that by like before I was 17. And then I was like, what's next after this? He was like, assistant manager. I was like, how old you gotta be to do that? He was like, you gotta be 18. I said, dude, I'm not 18 yet. He was like, I know. So you gotta wait. So I had to wait. So I always had like he taught me patience because like I wanted everything because I knew I could do the job better than everybody, but I had to wait on age for so many things. And then after I became assistant manager, I was like, so how old you got to be the general manager? He's like 21. I was like, I'm 18. He's like, yeah, I know. You have to wait. I was like, dude, this is so trash. I have people telling me what to do that don't know what they're talking about. I know everything. Like, what is happening? So when I finally did turn 21, he was like, "Guess what?" I was like, "What?" He was like, "You're 21." I was like, "Yes." He's like, "I'm going to give you the busiest store that I have in the market." I said, "Okay." I was like, "Which one is it?" He was like, "This one." I was like, "The one I've been working at this whole time?" He was like, "Yes, this is the busiest store in the market. This is the store that makes the most money out of all of the companies that I own."
Can you share it for context which store that was?
The name?
Yeah. Are you not allowed to share that?
I don't know because of that class action lawsuit.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah. We'll get to that later.
Yeah, I don't
Okay.
know.
So go on with the story.
But
Sorry
yeah,
to
yeah,
interrupt
yeah.
you.
No, it's okay. So, I ain't trying to get sued, you know.
Yeah. No, that's
But
totally fine. I understand
so
that.
yeah, but it was in Chicago. It was directly across the street from Wrigleyville Stadium. So, it was really, really, really cracking, really just going. And yeah, I did that for a long time. Went from 21 all the way until, well, that location from 21 all the way until I was 27 because it ended up going down. Yeah, it went down bad.
Because you left, right?
Yes, I did.
So, but that lawsuit's still going on currently, or is it like all done now?
Oh no, it's a part. It's the building is demolished.
Yeah.
It's a parking garage or something now. I think that's what they said.
Got it. So you started off because in the story right behind me, I swear it said you started at McDonald's originally. No, did I read that wrong?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
When it might be in there, but some of that stuff is they ain't edited right. So no, most of the stores that I worked at was Taco Bell.
Okay. Got
So,
it.
yes.
Moving on from that now, unless you have anything else to add with that story.
No, I'm trying not to be long winded. No, these stories are long.
So what do you think about Portillo's?
Portillo's is good. I worked there one time when I was I 16? I think I was 16. And the only reason why I worked there is because I really wanted to see a lot of the restaurants outside of like Taco Bell. I used to have like more than one job in Chicago, but it's Chicago and it's expensive. So if you're not making a certain amount of money, you have to have a decent amount of jobs in order to equal up a nice piece of chunk of change. So I was like 16. I was working at Portillo's, and it was the one in Stringwood. And I legitly only wanted to work there so I could see what they was doing, see what was going on, see the food, see the different type of serving styles, see the different type of registers, see the different type of systems. And they have that in particular Portillo. I don't know all Portillos, but I know this in particular Portillo's. They had a thing where I like them because they taught me how to count money so fast without even needing to register. Because it's like a money countdown system or something. And not a lot of like millennials knew how to use it. And they would have to use calculators and stuff. And it's like all about rounding to the nearest dollar and subtracting down from the nearest dollar. And that thing made me so fast to the point where I don't be having to type stuff into the computer. So that was a good thing to learn. They don't play about like health and sanitation practices and cleanliness. So that's where I get my OCD from when it comes to like keeping the kitchen clean and all that good jazz and the lobby clean. So because they don't play about those type of things. What else did I learn from there? The hustle and the bustle. You know, they're always busy. That location, drive through, always wrapped around the corner. They were one of the first people to go out into like I guess how you see like who is that Chick-fil-A? You know how they have the people
Outside and
outside.
Yep.
That Portillo's was like one of the first people to ever start doing that
Really?
because they were so busy. So they was like, we're trying to get these people out of here. So I feel like he, the one that came up with that system, and everybody else just started adopting it or whatever. So that was pretty cool to learn. They taught me I learned how to make a lot of the Chicago style food that I made here, but it's more so the process that they taught me. And I just took the process and then I added my own twist to it so it doesn't taste the same. But it comes pretty close.
Got it. Did you ever meet Dick Portillo's, the founder?
No.
No. Well, I wish I have, but unfortunately, he sold Portillo's right when I moved. I think around 2017. If you're familiar with that.
Well, when I worked there, it was 2006. So,
Okay.
so
Years
yeah,
ago
a
then.
while ago.
No worries then.
So
So
yeah.
I want to get your opinion. Do you see cooking as a form of art?
Yes, it can be.
What do you see it then as?
Um, honestly, I just see it as something that I just happen to be good at. I just so happen to be good at it. So I mean, I get joy from it, but a lot of people think that like I got into food because oh, it's my passion. Oh my God, I love to cook. Oh my God, let me feed the world. No, I got into food because it was one of the only jobs I can get as a kid. Like when you're an adult before it's your time, there are not a lot of options before the age of 18 other than fast food. And I had got so used to it. I had other jobs, but I always kept my fast food job because in Chicago, I'm like, okay, if I don't have enough money for this, if I don't have enough money for that, at least if I keep a fast food job, if I don't have money, at least I know I'll be able to get at least one free meal every day. So that's the reason why I kept it, really,
So it's just a skill that you survive off of,
basically.
basically.
Survival of the fittest.
Got it. And then you said you have a daughter,
Yes, I do.
and you said that she does not like to cook.
She does not. She doesn't want anything to do with it. Nothing.
What's it? Sorry to cut you off. What's it like? So what's it like being a mother, as we talked about earlier? What's it like working here
Mhm.
from store opening to store closing, going back home and playing the role of mom?
Um, it's hard and easy. It's only a little easy because she's bigger. Because when she was younger, that was really hard. But she's a teenager now and she has her own thing going. She's in high school now. But I am the only employee in the restaurant. So I do all the cooking, I do all the keeping it clean during the day, I do the cash register, I pack the food, I do the inventory, I play every role so far in the restaurant. And that takes away a lot of time that I could be spending with her. That's one reason why I'm not open on the weekends because I be humping and hustling Monday through Friday, and I need to have some time to spend with her, and I need to have some time to get the store back ready for um, the upcoming week. So the balancing act, it's crazy because I'm the only everything. I'm the only worker. I'm the only parent. I'm the only everything.
So you do everything on your own here: cashier, cook, yada yada yada.
Mhm.
Have you ever thought about having a sidekick or at least someone else help you out?
I do, but they never stay. Never stay. I had a couple good workers actually, but um, I make a decent amount of money here, but most of the money that I make goes back into the business. And in order to like push it ahead, I would need somebody to basically tough it out for like a month in order to build up the revenue in order I need to pay them. Now, I could pay them a certain amount of money, but competing with the other surrounding restaurants and whatnot, they're going to leave because they can pay them more. So it's like, I can't pay you that much. So, and nobody wants to make $10 an hour anymore, which is understandable, especially when minimum wage, I think, got moved up to almost $15 now.
It's 13.50, I believe now.
Okay, so somewhere in the middle. So 13. So it's like, I make like $10 an hour. after I get done with all the expenses and inventory and all this good jazz. But I understand people can't like wait around for it. So I have some things in the works of trying to get like some help with funding and stuff like that so that I can pay to play in the industry.
So can we transition to how this all started?
Mhm.
So, uh, to my understanding, during COVID, you lost your job back in Chicago, and you were homeless, right? Or can you just share
So
that whole
that was
story?
like it was a little bit before COVID.
Okay.
For like maybe a couple months, like maybe 6 months before COVID. I was working in Chicago. Like I told you, the owner of the company had passed away or whatever. His son took it over. Son, I think his company was like the estimated like net worth value of the company was like 10 billion or something like that. He sold it for 6 million. Sold it for 6 million, and he ended up selling it to like this franchise company who bought all of or majority of the stores that they had or whatever. And they changed all of our pay rates and all of that good jazz behind our backs. Didn't tell us. I went from making an extremely a big amount of money to uh, a significant low amount of money. And then everybody's job titles and stuff changed. It was crazy. So I tried to stay because I'm like, okay, this is like mostly of all of what I know and all of what I do. Okay, let's get with it. I've worked my way up from this number before. We can do it again. But I found out that the general manager, I mean, not the general, the regional manager was going into the system to change all of our hourly rates. So that it looks like that we wasn't making any overtime, so we wouldn't get paid out for it because if they didn't, I guess they had a thing where if they didn't pay out overtime, that regional manager or whatever gets like a bonus or whatever the case may be. So she'd go in and just change it, flat out change it. And then when I was comparing my clock out slips to my actual check, I said, this doesn't match. I know I'm not crazy. I know how to add. I've been adding for a long time. So I talked to one of my lawyer friends, and she was like, "Oh yeah, this is illegal, and this is like fraud, and this is like very very unethical." I was like, so then when we added up all of the tickets, I had like over 260 hours of unpaid wages. That launched a class action lawsuit. That is one of the reasons why that restaurant is no longer there. So I like to think of it as that, but I really think it's because I left and I already told them. I said, y'all won't be in business next year. I wasn't even thinking about the class action lawsuit. I was like, the fact that y'all did one of the most loyalist workers of this building dirty like this, I don't care if y'all keep all of the restaurants. This one is no longer going to be here. And it's not. It went out of business like a year to the T. I was like, I have magical powers.
So were you like happy that it ran out of business?
No, because I know how hard the person who started it worked and whatnot, but I was because just because you're a corporate company, you have the money, don't mean you can run over people like that. You know what I'm saying? So good for in that instance, bad for the other. But I ended up being homeless. I ended up living in my car. I ended up doing all of these things, and then house got apartment got evicted or whatever. Car got repoed or whatever. So at that point, I didn't want to go back home because I really didn't like. I had one of those parents like, okay, when you leave when you're 18, you can't come back type of thing. So couldn't really go back. Wasn't talking to my daughter's father because yeah, that's a whole nother story. So I went downtown and I was like, hey, what's the cheapest bus ticket away from Chicago? And they were like, got a couple options. The first one they said was like Omaha, Nebraska, one way, $50. I was like, where is that? I've never heard of this place. And they was like, it's only 8 hours away. I said, 8 hours? Okay. So if I don't like it, I can just come back. It's not that far. Okay. So then I got on the mega bus. Me and my daughter, I packed the bags that I could carry. She had like a book bag because she was little at the time. Had a book bag of the toys and stuff. They dropped us off at 72nd and Dodge, and then it's a place that used to be called New Space. I went across the street before it got remodeled. I went across the street and asked them. I was like, "Do y'all have like homeless shelters? Do y'all have like people that help people that don't have houses and stuff here?" She was like, "Well, your best bet is to go to the M House." I'm gonna say the M House because I don't think you can say their name
Okay.
because it's like a domestic violence place,
Okay.
and they have a lot of people that's hiding out there. So the M House, and I went there. They said they had like this 6-month program, or they give you 6 months to get on your feet and complete their program. I completed that program in 2 weeks. I got a job. I got a car, and then I saved up for like another like week and a half with that check. Got a house, and that's the house that I still live in to this day.
How far is your house from the store? Is it like?
I live in Dundee,
Oh, okay.
so it's like if I was driving, it's like 5 minutes away, but in the lift, it's like probably 10.
Got it. So how did your daughter handle being homeless?
She didn't even know.
How old was she?
She was 6.
Okay.
She didn't know. She thought we were. Well, I did a pretty good job of hiding it from her. She just thought we was like, just
Living.
yeah. As long as she was with me, it was cool.
Kind of reminds me. Have you seen the movie Pursuit of Happiness with Will Smith and Jane Smith?
I've heard of it because every time I tell people about that, they say it's like that. I've never seen it though.
Dude, you
I have
should.
never seen a lot of movies because I had never had time to really watch TV.
The
But
way you
yes.
just explained your short homeless story and moving to Omaha, it's very. Will Smith, spoiler, Will Smith, they totally forgot the character names, honestly, but they stayed in the city that they were in, but they were homeless kind of for a little bit. And the way you said, and the dad, Will Smith,
Mhm.
played it well, where he's like, hey, we're fine, but like they were homeless. But Jaden, as this little kid, probably around 6 years old, similar to your daughter at the time, was just like, yeah, we're just living life.
Yeah.
So, no, I definitely recommend that you watch that movie whenever you have the possibility to. It's a phenomenal movie.
I might check it out. But yeah, she didn't know. Like when I tell her to this day, I'm like, because like life has gotten so much better, and I'm like, you act like you need all these things. You know, we used to be homeless. She's like, you keep saying this. I don't remember that. So I'm like, you remember when we went to like this place that had the bunk beds and stuff like that? She was like, oh yeah. I was like, you remember when you was riding around in the laundry basket? She was like, yeah. I was like, that was a homeless shelter. She was like, really? I was like, yes. I tell you this all the time. We have pictures of us being homeless.
And then can you lead us to how this came to be at the Omaha Tower?
Okay, so this is really a give back. Honestly, this is a give back. It's a success story. It's like all of the things. So I was working here for another company, and they made me so mad because first of all, we're from Chicago, both of us. You know how serious Chicago takes food.
Oh, absolutely.
Because like
you bring up Portillo's and how you guys are fast paced.
yeah,
I moved to Nebraska and everything's just relax and chill. But like when I get hangry, and Nebraska just likes to take their time. This is my fast food take on Illinois fast food and Nebraska
right.
fast food.
So Nebraska's fast food is not really fast.
Nope.
Right.
Sorry.
So,
Sorry. If you guys were,
sorry.
yeah.
No, it's okay. It's okay. So our fast food industry is really, really like I was dealing with like 200 and some odd customers an hour. 200 customers so coming here was like more of a change. Like, yeah, they get a little busy, but that little small smidget of busyness is nothing compared to what I'm used to seeing. So with that being said, when it comes to like health and sanitation, when it comes to team cleanliness, when it comes to work ethic, when it comes to scheduling, when it comes to people showing up to work and all of this stuff, we don't play any games like that in Chicago because one, how jobs are so readily available here, they're not like that back home. So if you lose your job back home, You better have another one to replace it before you lose it. Otherwise, you're gonna be unemployed for a second. And most people, before they quit, they have another job already, so that they don't have that gap in unemployment or whatever. So here, they wasn't like that. They like legitly was telling me like your standards are too high. This is not Chicago. Chill. I'm like, yeah, but I feel like if a worker doesn't come to work in 7 consecutive days, if they don't assume that they're fired, why are we keeping them on the payroll waiting for them to show back up? Why am I getting into spats with people having to wear a uniform that you gave them to wear? Like, I was just fighting battles that I just didn't want to fight, wasn't used to fighting. But I legitly, I was the boss, and the reason why I left is because I ended up getting a level 2 concussion because I fired a worker. She did not like that. And when she got fired, she came, her mother, her father came up to the restaurant like, oh, you need to give me my check. I'm like, whatever check, we don't hand out paper checks. So whatever direct deposit you signed up with when you first got hired, that's where your check is going. She's like, well, that account is closed. You should let somebody know that before payroll went out. And quite honestly, you ain't been here in like 17 days. So you shouldn't even have a last check. You should have gotten it already. And she was like, oh, I need my money. I need my money. I need my money. You need to open up the register and give me the money out the register. I said, I'm not doing that. Like, what? You need to call HR and sort that out with them. Long story short, her Cash App ended up getting closed. That's what the thing that she was using to deposit her cash. It ended up getting closed because you know how the kids like to order DoorDash and then call and be like, oh, I didn't get it, so they didn't get their money back. I guess she did that one too many times, and her Cash App ended up getting closed. So that's why she didn't receive her last check when we got down to it. So long story short, her mom came in and was like, oh, you need to give my daughter this. I'm like, look, I don't need to give your daughter nothing. And every time stuff like this happens, I make sure I position myself right in front of wherever camera it is. Right smack dab in the middle. Because if something go down, oh, y'all gonna see. If I have to put my hands on somebody, you're gonna see why. So she came up being rowdy, rowdy, rowdy. I was like, okay, that's fine. Y'all need to leave the store. I'm gonna have to call the police, whatever the case may be. I don't care about the police. I don't care about this. I don't care about that. I said, okay, that's fine. But you need to stay over there on that side of the counter. Don't walk behind here. You walk behind here, you're gonna run into a brick wall. That's what's gonna happen. I'm from the south side of Chicago. Like, I'm not gonna play with you. So, she came behind the counter. Anyway, I said, oh. She came behind the counter and lunged forward. I took a whole stack of cups that was like sitting there and just pow, sent her to the moon. Cause I told you not to come back here, let alone come back here trying to hurt me and hit me. So we're tussling and fighting and fighting and fighting and fighting, whatever the case may be. I used to be an armed security guard in Chicago. That was one of my little side jobs. So I know how to hold somebody until the police come. So she's still fighting and fighting and fighting. She must have bit me or something. And after that, I said, you know what? I had it. So South Side of Chicago came out of her. I beat the mess out of her. Braids all over the floor, shoes all over the floor, shirt all on the floor. And then on top of that, I had one of my other employees call the police. I had to put it on speakerphone, told them what was happening. I was holding her there until they came because she couldn't get about that death lock. Like, I had a death grip on her. I was like, all right, you better stop moving. You're going to mess around and break your neck. And it's going to be your fault that you did, not mine. You better stop. So while I was on the phone with the police, they were on their way. But then the operator was like, oh, my God, there's an active robbery happened at another fast food restaurant down the street. I said, so they're going to go there first. So I'm holding her. The daughter is trying to get like my arms and stuff from around her. The dad is trying to get my arms and stuff from around. They could not like get my grip off of her. So her daughter takes the register, wham, right on my head. Right on my head. I said, I still had her. I was still holding her. And I held her there until the police came. The police came, they reviewed the footage. Um, she ended up going to jail or whatever the case may be. And I ended up, when they started talking to me, I was talking, and I got real dizzy out of nowhere. They was like, you need medical assistance? I was like, no. Then, oof. Then ended up in the hospital, whatever the case may be. And I called my boss. I was like, groggy and whatnot. I was like, look, I got a concussion, yada, yada, yada. The only thing he could ask me was, okay, when you come back to work? Have a concussion. Did you not hear what I said? Have a concussion. So that day, it was July 8th, 2023. I decided I wasn't going to work there anymore. He's like, when you come back to work? Never. Stop calling me. Never coming back. Everybody's like, oh, you should have sued. Yeah, I should have. I'm not worried about that. But I had saved every penny from when I was working there. Saved every penny. Didn't spend no money unless it was on necessities. And yeah, I quit. And then I started doing Grubhub so that I can try to get to know the area. And then the building that I'm in, that the restaurant's in, upstairs on the 15th floor, they order Grubhub. I took it to them. I walked past here. I was like, what is that? And why is it closed? So I went upstairs, asked her, who owns that downstairs? She gave me the building, the property manager info. I got in contact with them. Bought it.
Like on the spot?
Well, I made a interview. I'm not an interview, an appointment to view it to make sure it's something that I wanted. But then after that, yeah.
Got it. And then you've been here ever since.
Yeah.
The last 18 months.
Yeah, rocking it out.
So from your opening day to now, how has it been?
Whew. A lot of people are getting, first of all, I didn't know there was so many people here from Chicago. There are an insane amount of people from Chicago. I did not know that. I don't have any family here. I don't have any friends here. Just me and my daughter. So I was in the building, and then I was just, serving the people in the building, and I took out like flyers to like Bergen Mercy, the hospital, the college, the 2 colleges over there, Community Alliances over there now. So I was just serving to the surrounding area because I wanted to see if my food concept would last. Because if the other places didn't last long, I was trying to figure out why and what was the purpose and what was the reason. Was it lack of variety? Was the food might not have been? I don't know. So I was testing it the first year to see if I was even going to be able to do it. And surprisingly, it worked out. And then after the one employee, she went back to college. That's another reason why she's not here. The employee that I did have, she went back to college. She was cool. She the one who reached out to Scotty and had Scotty come here. That's how it just blew up after that. So many people have been coming. So many people have been seeing that video. That video has an insane amount of views. I've been getting so many customers to the point where I need to hire help now because there's so many people.
It's a good problem.
It's so many people. But yes, it's been real good. I mean, I'm chilling. I mean, I've been doing good. I mean, I'm profitable. Not where I want to be or where it could be, but it will be soon.
So are you looking to actually, first off, how did you come up with the name Gobble Ganger Foods?
Okay, so you know what a doppelganger is, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so the doppelganger is like,
It's a doppelganger?
yeah, doppelganger.
So like a lookalike.
Yeah, lookalike.
Okay.
So right.
Just want to clarify, make sure.
So yeah, like a lookalike. So this is a Chicago style restaurant. You get the Chicago experience. You get the Chicago decor. You get the Chicago customer service. You get the Chicago hustle and the bustle without having to actually go there. So Gobble Ganger Foods.
Got it. Got it. What's the most important thing on the menu? Not most important, most popular thing on the menu.
I probably have about 10 items that I sell out every day. Chicken wings, Italian beef, Chicago style Polish, Chicago style dog, peach cobbler, banana pudding, and pizza puffs every single day.
So Scotty also mentioned how you change the menu once a day, like Monday through Friday. Like Monday will be this type of food, Tuesday will be that type of food. Is that still the case?
It was, but I changed it because so in order for me to like survive that first year, I had different theme days. So Mondays was all about Chicago style barbecue. Tuesdays was all about Chicago style Hispanic food. Wednesdays was all about our wings, burgers, and pub style food. Thursdays was the Chicago hometown favorites, like everything that we're known back for home for is what we did on Thursdays. And Fridays is soul food day, so all of the southern food and all that good jazz. That's how I survived the first year. But after that video, everything that was in his everything that was in his review, I moved to serving it every day because so many people were traveling and I did not like the idea of them coming and I'd be like, oh, I don't sell that today. So I just moved to having it available every day because I don't know when they're watching the video. I don't know when they're going to be inspired to come. So if I have those items that was featured in that video ready to go, that's okay. And then all I did was just, I still have the same theme days, but I still keep those things on hand just in case people want them. Unless I'm sold out. That's the only way they can't get them if I'm sold out already.
Got it. So do you see yourself expanding this restaurant
Next year?
next year? Where's the next location going to be? Or are you looking at that right now?
I am thinking about 4 places. Blackstone, Shadow Lake, Benson, Old Market.
Old Market, downtown Omaha. One popular thing that Scotty told me that I did my research and the fact was true was Nebraska has the most restaurants per capita in the entire country. So, but it sounds like competition is a thing you're good at, especially with your experience in Chicago. So, what have you realized with like these other local restaurants in Nebraska? Anything different that comes to mind? Because like as we talked about before, actually not really. So you make Chicago style foods. You come here and we're known for our steaks, our corn.
Okay, yeah.
So that's what I was trying to get at. So do you see like a unique style that in Nebraska? Like, oh, like that's interesting. Like, were you ever a big steak or corn person growing up?
I don't eat red meat, one, and I'm not really a steaky type of person, but I did visit like all of the restaurants that everybody was like recommending and whatnot. Those were pretty cool. I was like, okay, I feel it. I get it. That's how I even came up with what I came up with because I'm like, I'm not saying it's a lot of the same things, but you know how like we have like a million chicken places in Chicago, a million like it's like the same type of food that we all known for, but it's so many different places doing it, and they got their own spin. It's like that here to me.
Got it.
So like, they have a lot of different type of Chinese food, a lot of different type of Mexican food. They do have a lot of different type of steakhouses, especially like Spencer Steaks. Spencer Steaks is crazy. I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. So they have a lot of different type of things, but you know what they don't have? Nobody have what I have. So that's why I was like, I'm going to do this because the only reason why this restaurant really came about is because after I got situated and got myself together and got stable and whatnot, even though I'm here and yes, we can find stuff to eat, but I was burning miles in my car going back home to eat. I was like, there's no way I'm driving 800 miles, 400 each way just to come eat. I'm not finna keep doing this. I'm finna I'm finna definitely see if I could just make that at home. Cause just to eat, I'm not even coming. At first, it was to eat, shop, and visit my friends, and then that's changed into just eating. So I was like, if that's me, I wonder how many people here are doing the same thing. And I'm going to test and see if that's the thing. And surprisingly, there are so many. I've met so many people from Chicago here. It is crazy. And people coming from Norfolk, people coming from Plattsmouth, people coming from Des Moines, people coming from Kearney. They coming from places in Nebraska and Iowa I've never heard of. I'm like this one guy, his name is Malcolm. He drives all the way from Norfolk. I was like, dude, how far is that? He's like 2 hours. I was like, you're coming 2.5 hours just to come eat with me? He was like, yeah, it's closer than Chicago. I've been hearing that so much. It's closer than Chicago and it tastes just like it. It's closer than Chicago.
How do you feel when you hear that?
I feel like I did a good job. I feel like I bridged a gap in a market that was untapped. And by me being a native Chicagoan and I know exactly how the food is supposed to taste, but not only how the food is supposed to taste, I've worked in those restaurants. And when I was younger, I was working in those restaurants on purpose because something in me was telling me I'm going to need this later. And now it's later and I do need it.
So you have your second restaurant coming up soon, whether you have to figure out the location, and then you also upcoming soon this fall. You said in that email that you're starting up a YouTube series too called Chef with Dice or
It's called Dish with Dice.
Dish with Dice. That's correct.
Dish with Dice, where the first part of the segment is where we you know, I have my guests pick a recipe that they want to try or they want to put a spin on. We cook it over there. Um, it'll be filmed over there. I'll have like the portable cooking stations and stuff like that. And then after we cook it, they taste it, we talk about it, get their honest opinion about it. And then the second part of the segment is called Beyond the Plate 2.0, Next Generation. Mouthful. And that's when we come over here where we are now. We I interview them, some will like what you're doing with me, get their life story, how they get started, and so forth and so on. And then I also have a book coming out called How I Turned $0 into $1 million. And it's about my life story, about how I took my savings and flipped it all the way to what I am projected to be earning next year.
Anything else besides the upcoming restaurant, your second Gobble Ganger Foods and the YouTube series?
No, just let's see, YouTube series, second location, the book.
You'll be finishing. Sorry to cut you off. You're in business school right now,
yes.
and you're gonna finish that up soon. So how's that been, and when's the projected plan on finishing that?
That's been cool. I'm excited because I'll be a doctor. I have a doctorate in business, and I legitimately only got the doctorate because I had a dream of being a doctor when I was younger and a little kid, and I felt like that dream got derailed a little bit because of circumstances. So I'm like, even though I can't be a medical doctor, I can still be a doctor in some way. So I have business. I'm in entrepreneurship, so might as well get a doctorate in business. So I plan to graduate. I believe my graduation date is May of next year. I think that's what it said on the thing, on the dashboard. Yeah.
Okay.
Like May, like between the 23rd to the 28th, somewhere in there. So yeah.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
So congratulations with that.
Thank you.
And on that, I guess I have two big questions to ask.
Yes.
So with the story you just shared from the very start of the podcast up to now, What kept you going?
Um, I am determined to rewrite history. Cause yes, I gave y'all like a tragic story of my upbringing and all that, but I live off this philosophy. I couldn't control what happened to me when I was a kid, but I can control what happens to me now. So I'm just choosing to change and live in the now, and that will produce a bigger and brighter future. So that's what keeps me going, really. And like, yeah, I could say my daughter, she's a big motivation about that, but if I'm doing good, if I'm in a good space, if I'm thriving, she has no choice but to. And one of the big things that keep me going is I am never going to experience homelessness and being broke or anything like that ever again. So, absolutely not. So, those are my three things.
For someone who wants to start their own restaurant, per se, what's the number one advice you would give them?
Um, don't just jump right into it. Do your research in your market first. See who your competition is so you can know who you're competing against. And don't start until you know for a fact you have a concept that you know for a fact you can compete to win. And the only way you can figure out how you can compete to win is you have to be able to add value to what they have plus more. So,
Where can people find you on social media, as well as we stated the address or the location, but if you can share that again.
okay, so the location is 2120 South 72nd Street inside of the Omaha Tower on the first floor. Um, and my social, I think every social media tag I have, because I changed them. So yes, every one of them. If you search Gobble Ganger Food TV, everything should pop up. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, all of them. So
Do you have a website too?
yes, gobblegangerfoods.com.
.com. Awesome. Well, Chef Dice, I really appreciate your time sharing your story. Really inspired by that, and I hope everyone watching and listening are too. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for watching and listening.